Right guys, so I said yesterday we've got all the bits back from plating for this 500 spec Cosworth, and I've started to put bits on already. So we've got the water pipe here, so this is the one that goes to the heater matrix on the original, clamps onto the front of the water pump. Obviously this has got a blanking plate on the front and no pulley because they are using an electric pump. We've got the fuel rails here, so these are the original fuel rails. Now if you look closely you can see a bit of pitting where it has corroded, but they're original, so we plated them so they're not going to corrode anymore, and to be honest with you, they are not brand new, but they do look pretty spiffing. The injectors have all been done. We've done all the little bits like the little clamps that hold the injectors in, etc., and the one that holds the idle control valve in. And I'm just about to, what we got? Oh, we've got a few bits down here, the dipstick tube. I'm just about to rebuild the throttle body, which we have all the bits here for. So we've got the shaft in here that holds the butterfly. I'm just going to have to clean that up. I put it in order, so that's how it come out, the shaft. So that is going to be pretty much like that. It's just remembering how to put all this back together. We've got the old bolts, but we're going to replace those with new ones. So if I go through here into our nuts and bolts drawer, we've got, to be honest with you, I've sort of gathered all these bolts up because these are the sizes that we tend to use for a lot of stuff. So what we got here, I'm going to go, although these are Allen key heads, I'm going to go for the hex because that's what I think it had originally, if I'm right in remembering. So we'll take 4 of those and some little washers. Go and see what Isaac's doing in a minute over there with his A series, looking fairly getting on complete that. So what we'll do is we'll stick these in the box of all the old bits. I always tend to keep the old bits for every engine because 1, it proves that we have replaced everything internally, and 2, the customer likes to sometimes have it and either have a sieve through it, see what we've done, what's left, what's been changed, and also they like to sometimes make things out of it. So yeah, these are the bolts that hold the throttle body onto the manifold, and so we've replaced them. That goes on there, but we'll replace those Jubilee clips in a moment. Right, so you can see I've put the shaft in there now, and it's all a little bit confusing. Every time I do one of these I sort of forget how to do it, but you've got a spring here that goes on first, then you've got a cover there that covers, like almost a seal that covers the roller bearing that is inside here. There's also a roller bearing inside there, you can see that inside, so you've got to make sure that you push those out before you blast this. And then you've got the spring on, which needs to sit over this side. Obviously you've got the throttle stop at the back there, and then the front of the spring sits over this bit here. So then that is the first bit. If I just take this one off quickly, you've got a little plastic collar that sits over there, and that locates inside here. So that is your butterfly shaft there that moves. Then this is the linkage that goes, your cable will go onto that side, so that's your throttle cable, and then the throttle cable will sit through here, through this bracket, and then go down and clip on there. Okay, so if we just do this up, it's an 11mm spanner that holds this on. This just goes to a stop, so it's got a shoulder on that sits inside there, and then when you tighten it up, and then there's a little bit of clearance there moving backwards and forwards so it doesn't lock up, and you can see now how that linkage moves. So it's sort of progressive really, and the further it goes as you pull the throttle, the more it will open the butterfly on the last little bit. Okay, so now what we want to do is open that fully, slide the butterfly in there, and then you have 2 little screws here which have also been plated, and they're the ones that hold this butterfly in. So this is, I've been blasted that in the vapor blaster, so it's nice and clean now. So we'll get that in because I need 2 hands. Thank you, mate, for holding the camera.
That's all right.
Sort of need two hands to do most of this, that's the trouble. Now when you put this butterfly in, you've got to, it's a bit fiddly really, because you've got to line the bolts up in the middle, but also make sure it's the right way, which I can't remember which way it goes, so the butterfly will actually shut. How are you enjoying doing it anyway?
Yeah, I think the A-series are all right, really. They're quite simplistic in a lot of ways, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah. I mean, I'm going to have to edit that because these are the wrong screws.
Ah!
Well, that is looking good, my friend.
Yeah, it's on its way.
It's got the cylinder head on and torqued up.
Yeah.
Rocker gears on. Is the head all torqued up, is it?
Head's all torqued, yeah.
So what do you think about doing these?
They're all right, really.
You like them?
Yeah, they're not bad at all.
What I like about the side valves is you get the crank and rods in, head on, and you worry about all the sort of timing gear last, don't you?
Yeah, very
The
last.
sort of rocker shafts goes on, you just slacken off all the
Done
stud and
that,
nuts
so
there, so you've got big old clearance. The rocker shaft has to go on before you torque the head, doesn't it? They're part of the head bolts, these.
Yeah. I've still got to put the other nuts on for the rocker shaft.
But one of the last things you do is the clearances, and they're nice to do. What we got over here, mate? You got the timing gear.
Loads.
I'm sure I've seen those sprockets and chain on earlier.
Yeah, they were on, but I forgot to put this little plate on, and then I saw it sat on the bench, and I thought,
which you probably wouldn't know until which you probably wouldn't know until you've built one or two.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know whether did you take it all to bits?
No, John took it apart. That's the thing.
I'm liking the tidiness of the workbench.
I know it's.
That's looking distinctly Paul Dove there.
It was tidy, and then all hell broke loose, and now it ain't. So
he's gone back to old ways.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I'll have to sort it out in a minute.
You'll sort it out, he will.
Eager to get this chain back on.
Yes, mate.
So
what are the timing marks then?
You got that little lump on the smaller one and the
Lines
dot
up
in there.
with the dot. Nice, easy enough, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just got them in the right place.
Yeah.
Did it without the chain, and you whip them off, get them lined up, and then you can just pop it back on.
Lovely job. So you have to have the chain on before you put the sprockets on, otherwise it won't.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty tensioned when they're on, isn't it?
Yeah. You could probably run one of these without actually putting a tensioner on it.
Yeah.
I think the old ones.
I'm quite liking this video today, mate. It's getting a little bit of a footage of us, like you said, actually doing some work rather than saying this is before, this is after.
This is before we did it.
This is what we've got to do.
It's done.
All done.
Yeah.
So this end, where you've got this big shaft sticking out, or the end of the crank, is slightly confusing because that's
the back.
With the oil point, this all looks a bit like another engine would look at the front, but it's not. It's actually the back.
Yes.
And because of that, the only way you can put it on the engine stand is from the front. So that's why it's got it on the crane, because we can't get at the front.
I've had to switch it around like twice already.
Yeah, that's why normally we have to build these on the bench, but it's just nicer to put the head on and the crank and that in on the stand, isn't it?
Made it a lot easier.
Well, yeah, looking really good, mate. Looking forward to seeing you get the gear blocks.
The gear blocks.
Gear blocks, stroke, slump on there in the next video.
The Land Rovers I didn't enjoy.
You didn't, do you?
I don't like
the
those.
trouble is with the Land Rovers, they're sort of simple to look at.
Yeah.
They ain't when you build them, are they?
You think, oh, that's all right, that goes there. But it's one of them engines, a bit like that Merc you did. It's like you sort of do it all and then realise you've done it all in the wrong order. Then you have to go back and do it all again.
I know what you mean.
And then you get right to the end and realise you can't put, you put something on too early and now you've got to, it's just... But yeah, the A-series are all right, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm in trouble with these little bolts. Always do. Bloody horrible little things. So we're having a little bit of an issue with these, aren't we, mate?
Yeah.
So where they peen the end of the bolt over as standard, when you've unwound the bolt, which is never easy to get out, it's just chewed the thread up a little bit.
Oh right.
It's M4.
Yeah.
So just running a tap down there, clean them up.
Hopefully it'll go in all right now.
We'll give all that a blow out in a moment. Hopefully, a bit more thread lock on. So I did put the wrong bolts in to start with, mate. I put the bolts in that go on here. These are the clamps for the lid of the distributor cap.
Any better?
Feels
Oh yeah.
feels better. Feels lovely.
Ideal.
It's the result, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I did have the butterfly round the wrong way.
Oh,
It's
you
only
did?
very, very slightly out, but it just doesn't. The only way you can tell is it just doesn't shut quite properly.
Oh right.
It doesn't sit against the stop, so
I
you need to
see.
make sure that. So it can go one of 4 ways, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going in. That's nice because they're pretty tight. But that thread lock's going to hold them.
Perfect.
So that is all good, mate. I'm happy with that. We've gone for a slightly different approach on the video, mate, haven't we, for a minute?
Yeah.
We've had a little chat this morning. Don't know what people's opinions are going to be about this, but what we're going to try and do, I'm going to be completely honest, obviously with the, not so much the clickbait, but, well, maybe a bit of the clickbait, but the dramatisation and the moaning, the warranty issues, all the rest of it, it's not that we want to stop being honest, because we don't, but I think I've been a bit addicted to maybe the fact that it gets probably twice as many views as a normal technical video.
Yeah.
But now the company is established on the channel and we're getting work from it and people are sort of enjoying it. It seems to me like more and more now people want to see more of the technical side, don't they?
Well, yeah, and I think, like we were saying this morning, the clickbait stuff, it has its place and it serves its purpose, but
It does, yeah.
you can't overdo it.
Not really, mate, no.
So,
So we're going to try and aim and take an approach probably for this next month, maybe slightly shorter videos for people to watch a bit easier, maybe do them a little bit more frequent, if we can do, if we find the time, we've got enough sort of content to do, and just do a bit more technical stuff. So like something like this, really, quite interesting, isn't it?
yeah, it's a bit different as well.
It's a little bit different. It's all part of the engine, but it's
Yeah.
you know. So let us know down in the comments what you reckon to that approach. So which way we got here? It's that way, isn't it? Yeah. So this is the throttle position sensor. So we're just going to set this, obviously when the throttle is shut completely. You can put this where you want. We'll just set that. It's spring loaded.
Right.
So we'll just set it in its home position.
Nice.
And put a couple of bolts in. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, mate, innit? See what people think. I'm just going to have to maybe take a little bit of a hit on the views for a moment, but it seems to me that when we do the technical stuff, the subscribers gently climb, as opposed to some people sort of don't like it and maybe unsubscribe, and we don't want that. Long term, we probably end up with more subscribers doing it this way.
Plus, there's plenty of content to make, isn't there, on technical
Yeah,
stuff?
There is.
Because it's what we do all day, so...
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there we go. We'll get that on in a moment. Well, that, mate, looks like new.
I think it looks quite nice, quite happy with it.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got the timing on all right. All
Yeah.
the cogs and what have you.
You get a tensioner on these
Oh, it's a
ones.
little tensioner.
Yeah, it's a later one.
Do they not have the tensioner on the early ones?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah. It's a later thing, but it's pretty basic. You just undo that and there's a slotted hole. You can just push it back or forward and then
it's
do
just
it up.
just a spring sort of set up.
Yeah.
They're fairly tight anyway, these chains, aren't they?
Yeah,
to be
they
honest.
are.
So it's just a case of matching that little dimple there with a notch in
there's
this.
a notch in the, just there.
Oh, I see.
It's almost 180 out in a minute. But
Yeah, that looks really nice. So next
Yeah.
step, front cover on. So you painted all that.
yeah, got to get that front cover on.
Oil pump.
Oil pump needs to go on, but
A few
that's
little
the back,
bits.
so you probably have to do that one to take it off the stand.
Almost done, mate. Looks lovely.
Yeah.
And you've got another one to do after this.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I think John wants to do it, but
Does he? Unlucky. I think we'll let you do that one.
alright.
Yeah, it looks
Sounds
really
good
good.
to me.
And we've had a bit of a tidy up bonus.
Yeah.
Well, good news, guys. Over here, we have a box, a Wiseco box, and these are the pistons for the CVH. So, the block is over here, and I've bored it already to the standard. Well, it's plus 1 mil. That's what the hassle has been with the pistons. We can get 0.5s easy enough, but 1 mils are quite hard to get. They do them in a couple of other brands, but I'd rather wait for the Wisecos, so they're on back order. But I bored this to 81 dead on, but you can see I've got to go out another half a thou on these bores, because these run a slightly bigger clearance. They say 3.5 thou as opposed to the sort of 3 thou of a standard one. So it's slightly over the round figure, but I'm going to probably give it another 1/4 thou on top of that. So I'm going to set this up on the hone in a minute and hone it, and we can get this block cleaned up then. Lick of black paint on the outside, and then it's assemble time. So yeah, really happy that I've got these pistons. So just before we go today, guys, we've got something a little different. This is a big bore. Now I'm not so sure whether this is the same as that. Don't look like it to me, but these are big bore 2-stroke motocross bikes, Hondas, I do believe. Well, this may be a Mako so 491. I think it's a Honda. The only trouble is with boring these, it's in for a rebore. You can see we have to give it 4 thou, but it's inundated with ports, which is an absolute nightmare. But this is a cylinder head off another bike, I believe, or maybe the same one. Don't know. But anyway, we all know, if you know anything about these old big bore 2-stroke motocross bikes, the compression is absolutely horrendous. So this is for Luke Hill at Hill Power Racing, but this is the decompressor valve that he supplies and I have to put into the head. So he tells me where it's supposed to go, or roughly, and I have to machine it in. So obviously you can see the first little issue. What I do is I set it up on my little jig for doing the pockets of the pistons, get it at the angle I want to come out where I want the other side. You can see there, a little 4mm hole Luke likes. You don't like a hole too big this side. And then this little valve here, basically what you do to kick it over, you just push the valve in like so until it clicks, and that opens the valve and lets some of the compression out. And as soon as it fires up, this thing will flick back and hold all its compression in. So a nice little mod for these old big bores, but yeah, a little bit tricky to do, to be honest with you. And as I say, as far as boring these things, you can see there that massive port there. You've got to be very careful that the stones don't get caught in there, because it instantly breaks the stones. And about 60 quid a pop, and God knows how much the barrels are, if you can even get them now. So yeah, Luke brings in a few of these and we just have to be very careful. But guys, until another video, thanks ever so much for watching, and we will see you then. Take it easy. Oh, and let me know down in the comments what you think about the new potential sort of doing more technical videos as opposed to the moaning. I'm sure many of you will like that. Cheers, guys.